Hello, listeners. This is Editing Emma, and I didn't realize my mic wasn't on, and D-Dub didn't tell me. So I apologize in advance for the audio because it's terrible. It sounds like I'm going through a tunnel, or underwater or something. So bear with us. Next week I will make sure it's on. But we appreciate you guys listening to this week's episode.
Welcome to Cue the Mic. I'm Darren Worth.
And I'm the handsomely Randy, just kidding, Emma Derflinger.
And Randy has the shits.
Said he was coming out both ends this morning.
So
Not a text I wanted to receive.
So we decided we would let him have an excused absence today because his tummy hurts.
His tummy hurts. Yeah.
He is always sick.
Yeah, he is. I think this is a hot take, and if there was a doctor listening to this podcast, first of all, why are you listening to our podcast? And second of all, sorry, but I think it's because he takes all those immunity, like he takes so much immune health stuff. I feel like it's hurting him more than helping him.
He takes a lot of immune stuff?
Yeah, he was talking about it one day. He takes like all this medication for his immune system, and I'm like, just go drink water out of the hose in the backyard like a real man and call it good. That's what I did. I'm never sick. I feel like I'm trying this whole Randy persona, and it's really not working for me.
It's really funny, Emma. It's just really funny hearing you of the person that never wanted to, even when COVID was over, still wanted to wear a mask because you didn't have to do makeup.
Yeah. Well, I don't do makeup anyway, but yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, just drink out of the hose, Emma.
Oh yeah, times have changed. Rub some dirt on it. Let's go. I'm trying to be, yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. I'm trying to be like full like Randy.
Oh, you're trying to impersonate Randy. You're not
maybe
being
a little
Randy.
bit. I'm impersonating, yeah. I don't know if it's working. I'll stop. He's better at it.
You haven't cussed yet.
That's true, I haven't. But I do that anyway. There's still time. But anyway, what's going on?
Oh, poor Randy. Just spent the week in Florida here. We had Jeff and his wife from Shigan and Grindon down here. They were house hunting. And so I've been working, the beginning of the week, spent a lot of time on the catering business for the Crafty Mac and the Ornery Chicken. We were trying to, get one of our catering gals or get Shayla, not catering gal, but Shayla's kind of our jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get her focused a little bit on overall catering. And with Elizabeth being out and so Shayla's been kind of, we're in the midst of the start of graduation season and World Park Expo. So she's really gotten thrown into the catering business for Smokey D's. So I've just been kind of handling the catering business for the Ornery Chicken and the Crafty Mac, and it's my jam. So just different requests, people coming in wanting, so the Crafty Mac, we developed a catering menu, I don't know, a year ago or whatever, just maybe 2 years now of just, different pans of mac and stuff like that. Well, now we're getting requests saying, "Hey, can we do a build your own mac bar?" And like, yeah, why wouldn't we do that? For a graduation really party, so I did that, threw that together and priced out a bunch of options, and that took forever. And then got some requests in for now, instead of just chicken tenders, actually catering out like chicken sandwiches with different side dishes, which we don't have a lot of side dishes at the Ornery Chicken. So putting together some new side dishes, but then also taking a lot of the side dishes from Smoky D's
Mhm.
and throwing them into the mix because we're easily accessible and trying to throw them. So luckily, the two that I needed to throw menus together for, I got the menus. I kind of had to delay them a day and a half or two, and as soon as I got the menus to them, they booked right away. So now we can build on those menus and make them fancy and hopefully get those catering businesses. So I've been kind of treading a little light. We still haven't got it's my jam breakfast catering menu up on the web and stuff, just because
That's okay.
it's like we got to make sure we have the infrastructure to be able to handle it.
Right. That
Um,
is the most important part.
yeah, because we had your mom handle, an early morning one on Tuesday,
Yeah, you
and
yeah, you did. I was over there
so
on Monday.
it went well. She didn't think it went as well as she wanted to. She was kind of got last minute. Things didn't cook as fast as she wanted them to cook. So, but anyway, the customer was happy. So we learned a lot, because we're still learning about portion sizes for different products
Right.
on these things because we've really never catered breakfast casseroles and stuff like that. So trying to learn out what portion sizes should be and that's the whole game. I mean, we know what those portion sizes should be in the barbecue world, but when you come to breakfast, how much are people going to eat when it comes to scrambled eggs, and how much are people going to eat, when it comes to breakfast casseroles and fruit and that type stuff. So, luckily we had a customer that was a new customer to us that caters breakfast a lot that, was very open with us and said, hey, you had a lot of this left over. And, we
That's
didn't
good.
have much of this and, that. So it was kind of nice that we were able to get that feedback.
Yeah, that's super helpful.
Yeah. So then it's just a matter of documenting that and just kind of, because you never want to run out of food, but you don't want to over
Yeah.
the amount of food, from a
True.
cost perspective. So anyway,
Well, good.
yeah.
So,
So anyway,
catering.
spent a lot of time doing that this week and working on that, and then spent a lot of time just looking, on my morning walks, spent a lot of time on restaurant podcasts, just different restaurant coaching type motivational podcast. And pretty interesting stuff. You're almost running by the time you get, you start walking, and then you get into these podcasts, and you get like, oh yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and you start moving along, and then by the
Mm-hmm.
time you're in, you're like sweating your ass off, like, what the fuck, what the hell just happened?
Right.
Because you leave your driveway, and I normally walk for an hour, and and I came back, and the podcast was, I'm like, I leave, and then all of a sudden it's like, fuck, I'm back already. It was so good, and just
Yeah.
learning, just thinking about, just the whole business in general, and where we do great and where we don't do great, and where we need to improve, and the simple ABC stuff that we do really well, and the simple ABC stuff that we don't do so well. And our Achilles heel is, of course, inventory. It always has been. I mean, we do a really good job of food costing, of theoretical food costing, but we don't do a good job of actual food costing and good inventories and stuff like that. So that's, we have all kinds of software to do it, but it's not necessarily the problem we have is with multiple different locations feeding out of one location, unless all these locations are on the same inventory system, which is super expensive to put all the locations on and kind of stupid to put them on locations on inventory,
Mm-hmm.
the same inventory system, because these inventory systems that we're trying to use are so expensive. It's kind of stupid because we're transferring this inventory in and out all the time. So we're just trying to do it now with lists, and we're getting better at it, and we're just taking baby steps. But it's tough trying to measure the actual of what the usage is at these remote locations. But
Well, how's that? I mean, what, why haven't you dedicated the time to, kind of figure that out? Because you're so big on, you know, you're working on the system. I feel like that's the system,
It
right?
it is. It just becomes, it started like when our gal that was running the chicken left, and we had Alex was running he was doing the
Oh, yeah, I guess
analysis and
that's
starting
true.
the inventory, and then we threw Alex into running the chicken. And we've
Yeah.
never really pulled him back out of the chicken, so there's really not been the analysis. And I mean, it's a big thing when you're as big a company as we are and we move as much goods as we do in between. There's not a lot of things. And so then it's like, then we bring back your mom to handle a lot of, she's going to handle a lot of costing stuff and a lot of stuff. Well, when she comes back, what do? We throw the school lunch program at her, and the baking program at her for the jam and baking program, and all the dessert program and all that stuff. And pretty soon, and those all generate revenue.
Hmm.
So I'm a generate revenue type guy. So if you can generate revenue, fine. We want to generate as much revenue, and we want to keep building the catering business. And that's how we've always grown. You keep generating revenue, right?
Yeah.
Which, you keep generating revenue, but at some point you got to go, okay, I got to somehow devote some resource over here to, you know, to measuring the business, and say. But like I've said many times in the past, sales takes care of a lot of problems. We continue to make money year after year, and our margins continue to increase year after year. And I mean, our business as a whole is a great business. Could it be better? Yeah, I think it could be better. If But we run a pretty tight ship. But do we? Don't know. And so there's money on the backside that we need to invest to analyze our business, that we've never spent much time, because every time we think we're going to do that,
Hmm.
then all of a sudden we grow the business and we yank that person away from there and put them into growing the business some more.
That's a good point.
So maybe we got to figure out how do we get that business analyzation in somewhere that Darren has no access to, that he can't grab that person.
That might actually be the only solution, in all honesty. You're just big on utility players.
Yeah,
So you do it.
utility players are huge,
Yeah.
and yeah, utility players are huge
You like
because,
everybody to be involved with a little bit of everything.
yeah, well, I mean, that's, if you lose somebody, if
Right.
somebody comes up sick, lame, or lazy, then you're not hurting. If somebody gets hurt,
Right.
or somebody gets, in a car
Yeah.
accident, or somebody gets killed, or somebody, whatever, something happens drastic, your business still must go on,
Hmm.
or somebody gets a better opportunity, right? Hey, boom, you can't rely on just one person in your business. Otherwise, that one person goes away, you're dead. So you got to have a lot of people involved in a lot of different places that can be able to pop in and know what they're doing enough to be able to run that segment of the business. Otherwise, guess what? You're back into it yourself.
I think that's really important for a lot of people to think about, because I don't feel like a lot of people do that. They might have one or two, but most of the time it's like the owner's the utility player or like a manager. But like it's important that everybody is a little bit of everything. Because like when I worked at Smokies, I was doing a little bit of everything still.
Yeah,
You know?
Well, yeah, and so I was, I go on, I look at a lot of groups out on Reddit, restaurant owner
Yeah.
groups and catering owner groups, and there's a toast group out there that I'm always
Ooh,
researching stuff, constantly researching stuff. Why most people watch TV and listen to the radio and stuff. I don't. That's what I do. And one guy was asking about toast and about out of stocks because his employees would put stuff out, or they'd put stuff out of stock and forget to put it in stock. And if you forget to put it back in stock, then people can't order it
right.
online. And if you're an online ordering business and you don't put it back in stock, I've seen us do that on
Oh,
purpose, at the chicken
hmm.
restaurant. I'll see us leave something out of stock for 3 days. And then finally I'll go, why has this been out of stock for 3 days? Oh, it's not out of stock. And I'm like, well, it is. It's out of stock. Oh, shit, we forgot to put it back in stock. So the customer can't see it. That's why
Hmm.
you haven't sold anything for 3 days, because it's out of stock.
Right.
So the restaurant owner was asking, well, what's the easiest way to remember to do that? And I'm like, well, you use this Toast Now app. It's right there. You just go look at out of stocks and you can put it in stock. And he goes, yeah, but I want my employees to do it. And I'm like, give your employees access to do it. And he goes, well, I don't want them to be able to see sales and labor information. And I'm like, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Why?
What's it?
I mean,
That's
it's showing them
yeah.
total labor percentages and total sales. Why wouldn't you want your? And he was talking about managers. Why wouldn't you want your manager to be able to see that sales and labor? Because if a manager sees it, it becomes a game. It goes back to kind of counting calories, right?
Hmm.
That's why people use. That's why I use my Fitness Pal, or that's why I use my Fitness Pal, right? Because
Hmm.
if you count it, then it becomes a game. Well, if you look at sales, how can I get more sales? If you look at labor, you're trying to figure out, if you're paying attention to it, if you measure it, it will instantly get better. So give them the out of, let them see the sales, and the out of stocks are right there and they'll be able to see it. Give them access to that data.
Yeah.
Don't be worried about getting that information. It's not detailed information. It's
Yeah.
not giving them, and maybe they're a small enough operation that they could figure stuff out, about who makes
Hmm.
what. But, the fact of the matter is, in today's world, everybody knows what everybody makes. You might as well just post it up on the wall, because the
I
way
mean, in all
employees talk.
honesty, yeah. I, yeah. It's I agree because it's one of those things where like I feel like it builds a trust if you give them access to that stuff. Like they'll understand that you're not trying to like you're not doing anything shady. You're not trying to screw them out of anything. You're just being upfront. Like it's just it builds like a level of trust with your employees too that have access to that because they're like, okay, well, you're gonna let me see this stuff, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
It's like I told Shayla this week. I called her up and I said, "Hey, by the way, I'm designing all these menus. I really want you designing all these menus, but I understand you're shoulder deep
mhm,
in all the Smoky D's catering with World Park Expo and graduation season, and this stuff needs to be done right now. So
mhm,
I'm developing all these menus. So just so you know, I'm not trying to work around you, because I really want you doing this. This was my goal, was for you to develop all this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, I know you won't be able to breathe until July. So, and
mhm.
it needed done now. So I've done it." She goes, oh, great. I'm glad you shared that with me, so that I didn't see like, hey, I'm not doing my
Yeah,
job. Right. It's
exactly.
just, it needed to get done.
Yeah, that's something I in my current. I mean, not that you didn't do this, but it's definitely something at my current position where yeah, they're very good on just like communicating with us and making sure we're aware like this is not a you issue. I just know that like you are busy and we need to get this done. Like it's not because you're underperforming, it's just because of like the quantity of work that we have to get done, you know?
I'm not always the best of it. I just do it. Right.
Correct.
I know that.
Yes.
I know it, but
Yes, we do know that. We do know that.
just get shit done.
Just get
It's
shit
got to get
done.
done. Just get shit done.
Yes, but sometimes people have a lot of shit to get done.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So,
Just try
yeah.
and figure out or shit doesn't get done. And
And as like a non-business owner, I feel like this is good just to say to everybody listening that owns a business, and also a good reminder for DDub probably as well. It's really helpful when you actually just communicate with your employees. Like
yeah,
communication, I know that everybody says it, but like it's really the more you communicate, the better relationships you'll build with your employees and just as a company or as a business because everyone will feel included. They'll start to care more because they'll feel like they're actually a part of it and less of like, you know, I don't know, like just as an employee maybe.
yeah.
But and that I mean that's just a good rule of thumb for anything. Like just
That's the only reason I still do the podcast because they all
yeah
listen to it.
yeah just communicate. Just communicate. I do think it's funny. I have learned from more employees are listening to it, and you, I guess. And it's just kind of funny to think about, like, oh yeah, why you don't even have to talk to them as much because you tell them what to do here, but
Tell
you
them
should
what to do
still,
here. Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, so by the way, don't overcook the pizza crust.
Accidents happen.
No, it's not the pizza crust. It's the par baking of the pizza
Mm.
crust. I read that in the manager log this morning. So we're cooking the pizza crust at the chicken restaurant. We make it up there and we par cook it, and then we take it down. And so we weren't getting it cooked enough, so we took it just a little bit farther. And we're not in an oven that's an exact science because the oven's an older oven, so it's inconsistent. So it's kind of a
Oh, at
feely
the
thing
chicken.
at the chicken. So
Yeah.
and I've cooked it myself quite a few batches there myself, and it's not a perfect science. So then here comes the manager log. Hey, we're overcooking there that it's breaking. So
Mm.
because it's a cracker crust, so we're
Yeah.
actually breaking it too much. I'm like, okay, so we got to back it down. So there's this. It's not if it
Yeah.
was the perfect. If we were cooking them at the chicken, we have these exact ovens that cook everything exact to the time.
Yeah.
Those ovens aren't the exact same way, so it's tough because it's multi-stack ovens that the top shelves cook different than the bottom shelves, and it's a look and feel type thing. And when you're only par cooking for a minute and a half, it's tough,
Hmm.
so it's kind of
What
crazy.
does par cooking mean?
It just means just kind of pre-cooking. So
Oh.
we're taking the dough, we're mixing the dough, we're letting it rest, letting it rise a little bit, and then we're pressing it out on a dough press, and then we're putting it in the oven and we're par cooking it, just so that it's partially cooked. Because if we don't partially cook it, so let's say we had the dough press at the jam, which we didn't. So let's say you're at a normal pizza restaurant, you would have your pizza dough sitting there, and you might prep your pizza dough and put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then you would take it out. You'd take your however much you're using, you would take it out and let it sit out, and it would sit out all day long in these containers. And as you needed a pizza, you would take the pizza dough ball out, you'd put it on the dough press, you'd press it out, you'd throw it out, throw the toppings on it, throw it in the pizza, and cook it at a really high heat. Well, since we're using a cracker crumb and our oven will only go up to 450 degrees that we're cooking, in order to achieve that, we need to par cook that crust. So we're taking a pizza crust, and we haven't had good luck with when we did the pizza crust. We didn't have good luck with putting that in the refrigerator. So what we did was we found that what worked best for us was to mix up the crust, let it sit out for about an hour, and that it really didn't rise, but somewhat rise because it has a little bit of yeast in it. But let it come up, and then we would press it out, put it on a pizza screen, and then par bake it in the oven, cool it down, and then we would take those crust actually to the freezer and package them in the freezer, and that way we could transfer them down to the jam, and they could just take a package out of the freezer, one at a time, and then they had a shelf life of 3 or 4 days. And they just, as they got ready to make the pizza, they take a refrigerated pizza crust, throw the toppings on top of it, and throw it in the oven, 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes in the oven, and they've got a perfect pizza every single time. And we've gotten lots of rave reviews about the pizza. And we're doing,
It looked.
10 or 12 pizzas a day,
Mhm.
which is great, for not really advertising anything. But it looked
Well,
what?
it looked amazing the other
Yeah.
day. I don't know what I saw it on. I don't. I don't know, but I saw it and it looked, yeah, 10 out of 10.
I think
It
I've
actually
gotten,
looks kind of like Denny's pizza. So part of me was like, wait a minute, did you steal the recipe? But then I saw the egg, and I don't feel like his had egg, so I don't think his had egg. So it wasn't.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Part of me wants to introduce kind of a or a pizza, run a pizza of the week or a pizza of the month or something like that, which is a specialty type pizza. But I'm like, I'm not sure I'm ready for that yet.
yeah, I think you give it a little more time. You
You know,
you like to do this thing, and this is just from experience where, yeah, you don't give anything a full chance to like develop. You know what I mean? Like you like to really just throw something else at everybody before they have a chance to fully handle what they're doing in the moment. So yeah, maybe give the breakfast pizza a chance to get really good, and then
yeah,
throw another thing at them. Maybe just a thought.
it's so easy though. It's so
Yeah.
easy. It's like
Uh,
building it. It's the same process as
well,
building
yeah,
an omelet though,
yeah, and I'm not
right?
saying it's not easy, but why throw another thing at them when you could give them a chance to like give, and this is coming from, actually, this is
Are
part of
you
the
are
marketing
you
side of
saying
it.
throw it at an employee or a customer?
Both. This is from the marketing side of it. Give it a chance to have its spotlight. Give the breakfast pizza a chance to thrive before you throw another pizza at everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just
No. So when I talked about listening to these restaurant podcasts, right? These
mhm.
coaching podcasts and whatever.
Yeah.
Every single one, and I listened to 3 different ones. Every single one that I listened to had to do with continually shrinking the menu,
And
constantly
that
shrinking the
is
menu.
something
And that is
something you
something that
struggle with.
we are absolutely horrible at,
Yes.
right?
One, I can
As
100% back that.
we are introducing tomorrow, I believe, our
Oh,
bringing back fried ice
yeah.
cream that
Cinco
we
de
did in
Mayo
the month
stuff.
of May, Cinco de Mayo, and we are doing our first ever brisket empanadas made from
So,
brisket empanadas from masa. I mean, from
mhm.
scratch,
I love that.
right?
That's a great
Um,
special.
it's a great special.
Special. Limited time offer.
Yeah,
LTOs.
just like the fish, right? The
Yeah,
fish
and
that never went
and
away.
the barbecue burrito and the street tacos and everything else on the menu. Was supposed to. We hadn't. We almost named the special menu specials, but not really because
Yeah.
they were going to be there the whole time.
I wish people would quit buying so many of them.
Well, Darren, it's like the McRib. We've had this conversation how many times on this podcast? It's like the McRib or like the Shamrock Shake. Or I don't mean to just compare you to McDonald's, but that's the only thing I can think of. They take it away and it builds the want and the need and the desire for it so that when it comes back, it sells even more because everyone's like, oh my gosh, it's back. I need it. And then you take it away again.
Yeah, but and I haven't been to McDonald's in really years, to tell you the truth.
Same.
But but I used to go to McDonald's just for the McRib.
Yeah.
So, but if I could get the McRib all the time, I might have went once a month, but I only went once a year to get the McRib.
But you probably in that time went a lot more than you thought. I'm just saying.
Or maybe we need
Specials?
just a Mexican restaurant.
No. I'm gonna vouch for your wife here. You're not supposed to have any more of those. No
Yeah,
more
I know.
restaurants.
I know. I already told her. I've pleaded. I've already told her that she's like, no more restaurants. And she goes, you can build the catering business. And I said, okay, but what if the catering business gets big enough that we need another building to house the catering business? And she goes, okay, well, then you can build a building for that. I'm like,
But just not another restaurant.
evidently just not another restaurant. But I can have a building that I can employ another 50 people, just not a restaurant.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I feel like also maybe we should give a little leeway in case you finally decide to build the drive-through. Then I feel like that's a good investment.
Oh,
property.
that's the other thing that I could get away with. So there's a lot of things I could get away with.
But like starting a whole new business, essentially, like the catering business is combining all of your businesses into one. Starting a whole new business.
But that's
she's like, it's a fine line.
But that's the fun.
No.
The thrill of the startup. People don't understand the thrill of the startup. And it goes back because being in the transportation business, when you do a transportation startup, the stress of the startup is that's me. It's always been me. And you thrive on that stress.
But you're also the first person to tell anyone and everyone don't start a business.
Right.
Like, so you just want to hog all of the adrenaline? Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know? So you just want yourself to suffer but nobody else? That doesn't sound like fun.
Maybe I'm just built a different way, Emma.
We knew
Maybe
that.
Maybe I'm just wired differently.
And that's something I've known since the day I've met you. So, that's obvious. Go ahead. How about you take maybe we get Randy to let's have Randy open up a business. Let's have him open up a restaurant and you can put all that energy into helping him for a little bit.
That's what I told Sherry. I said, I'm gonna start the consulting side. She goes, I am all for that, but you're charging for it. I'm like, yeah. Why would I do that?
Make some money. Just a little bit.
Why?
Just like a little bit. I don't know.
Because if you charge, then you got to be on their schedule, not yours.
I guess that's fair. But also not 100% true. If you're a freelance consultant, it's kind of on your schedule, so.
I don't know. Maybe I'll write a book. No, people don't read books.
That's not true. I have a whole book club. We read all sorts of books.
That's all Sherry does, is read books.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's do our AI segment of the day. Write me a book about starting a barbecue business.
Oh, we don't want to start a barbecue business.
No. Well, From Smoke to Success, a guide to starting your own barbecue business by Emma Derflinger. Give me the chapter breakdowns. Oh my gosh, ChatGPT is the best.
It's the best.
I just love it so much, and I think it's so funny that you're the one that got me like to ChatGPT.
Except for it lied to me. It lied to me this morning.
Did ChatGPT lie to you, or did one of the other AI platforms that's not as good lie to you?
Well, I think it must have been on Google lied to me. Because let's see. You know what? I'm not sure where it came from because I booked hotels, so don't tell my buddies. but I'm the travel agent for our Canadian fishing trip, right? And we've been staying at the same hotel for the last 25 years.
Okay.
And somebody forgot to book the hotel, and it's booked. So I've been scrambling all week long trying to find a place to book, and not for our week long trip, but just for the night on the way up. We stay one night
Oh
on the
yeah.
way up, one night on the way
Right,
back.
Yeah, no, I know how this trip
And
works.
so we always stay at a place called Le Place Rendezvous. And so it's a convention center hotel in Fort Francis, Ontario.
Okay.
And it's always nice because, they have they've got a hotel, which it's just a clean hotel. It's nothing fancy. You would probably give it 2 stars, but it's very simplistic. But it's right on the lake, so you open up your windows and it's the Rainy Lake's right there. But they
Mm-hmm.
have a bar and restaurant attached. And so we'd go down, and it was always wing night on Thursday night. So we go have wings with the locals, and we get drunk as shit and whatever. Well, the fact of the
Yeah.
matter is, I don't drink anymore, and half the group doesn't drink anymore, and so it's like it's kind of lost its luster. But it was still always a place to stay. Well, I forgot to book it. I thought I had it booked, and I'm like, I can't find my reservation. This was like last week. I'm like, where's my reservation? I'm like. So I called him up. I'm like, I can't find my reservation. Like, yeah, you don't have a reservation. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, okay, I need a reservation. We're booked. Oh, shit. So then finally I found a place this morning. So after all kinds of booking a whole reservation online or it was a mess. It was an hour-long process. So anyway, they send me the reservation this morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which just disappeared off my phone for some reason. Seems like everything that oh yeah,
Was this a
it
fever
seems
dream? Did it even happen?
no, it's here. So anyway, when
Oh,
they send me the reservation, at the bottom of the reservation has suggested A1 generated itinerary at
okay.
the bottom of the reservation.
A1 or AI?
AI, sorry. A1 steak sauce,
A1.
AI, whatever. So anyway, it gives me breakfast, lunch, dinner, and activity,
Okay.
right? And so
Yeah.
the breakfast, it says, oh, here's a place called the Breakfast Club. I'm like, oh, that's sweet. We'll see how early they're open. So I went, there's no place. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You lied to me.
You lied to me.
You lied to
Yeah.
me because we like to eat breakfast before we go on the rest of our 6-hour road trip. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I mean, we would go to our normal breakfast place, but I'm like, hey, maybe something different because this is like a few miles on the other side of town. I'm like, well, maybe we'll find something different. No.
Yeah. I had Google. So Google's AI Gemini is still a work in progress. I will say it's definitely got some really sick features. Like it gives you the actual sources for things when it writes you blurbs and whatnot, which is cool. But yesterday I was listening to a crime podcast, as I do, and I wanted to find out more on this person who was kidnapped and this woman who was kidnapped and whatnot. So I was doing my research, and AI told me that she married her captor, and I was like, "What?" Coming to find out, that's a big fat lie. Because why would she do that? And I was like, "There's no way. Why would she marry this person who buried her alive in a box? That's weird." She didn't. But AI told me that, and for a minute I believed it, and I was like, "This is bizarre." And then when I found out that AI lied to me, I was like, "I can't trust you, Gemini." Now ChatGPT, I could trust in my life.
Well, so the thing is, should it be a law that if something was AI generated, should it be that the photo should say AI generated or modified in the bottom of the photo? Yes or
In a
no?
photo?
In a photo or an image?
Um,
In a photo or an
yeah,
image?
that's a good question. I think it depends on the contents.
I mean, I'm talking about in a photo or an image. I'm not talking about
Here.
who cares if a poster, but whatever. but if an image, so let's say
So like you're saying, here, let me show you this.
something in the news,
Oh, yeah, that I think
some something in the news,
if it's used for publications like that, it needs to say AI generated.
right?
Because it
But
like,
it
well,
because
even
you never you can't believe anything.
didn't, right, because when people would like, so back to crime stuff, because duh, when they would try to, like, if there was like a missing person case, right, and they would try to be like, after so many years, this is kind of what we speculated that their progression would look like. I'm like, this is what they could look like now. Didn't they always put like a disclaimer, like this is, you know, whatever? I feel like that you'd have to do that.
He, but it never happens. So
Hmm.
like take the
It
for
should.
instance, and we won't get into politics or anything, but talk
Yeah, because
about
it's
like
not
the
a political
gang
podcast.
but talk about the MS-13 tattoos on the one guy or what of the Venezuela, or I don't even know much about it, but
Me neither. I
there's
don't know what you're talking about at all.
well the guy that they deported to the
Oh,
prison, and they said, well, he's a family man, whatever, and they said no, he was an MS-13, and the
oh,
whole
yeah.
Senate
I
or what.
did actually hear about that.
But anyway, but his knuckles had the MS-13 tattoos on it, and then they're like, no, they didn't. Yes, they did. And I'm like, well, it doesn't, because you could AI generate that whether they did or not 100 different times. So
Right.
I've seen the photo two different ways, and I'm like, okay, but you don't know what's true,
Right. This is either AI generated or, I mean, just Photoshop. Like,
or you can,
yeah.
right?
If a photo has been altered in any way, shape, or form, I in that sense, it yeah, especially if you're gonna post it, like if it's going out on the news, yeah, it should say it. I mean,
It's
if you want to filter your own photos and do all that mumbo jumbo, go for it. I don't think you need to disclose that. That's means most people will probably just know, but whatever, influencers do it all the time. Whatever, it's one thing. But if you're
right.
doing it, if you are providing, um, if it's something like you're providing information on something to that stature, then yeah, it needs to be disclosed if it's
Yeah,
edited or not.
yeah, yeah,
Because yeah, that's one of the things with media is like why some people think it's so corrupt, just because you can make up whatever you want. And I think we need to do a better job of disclosing if it is or not. Like if you did generate this with AI, tell me.
yeah. I
If
think
this is all speculation, tell me.
I had
You
this
know?
conversation last night with somebody and saying we were just talking about the media, and I'm like, hey, the media it used to be, and it was with an old timer, and we said, hey, the media just used to report the news. End of story. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just a big opinion page, right? Doesn't matter what side it is. It's just a big opinion page. Well, they don't report the news. They just report their opinion. Both
Oh, I
sides,
wish.
right? When it used to be, here's the news.
I wonder what.
You form your own opinion. Now they want to form your opinion for you because they don't think you're smart enough,
Right.
right?
I don't necessarily disagree with that,
Yeah.
but I don't watch the news.
Me
I
neither.
don't know. I just the world feels like such a happy place
I agree.
when you don't corrupt it with the news.
Exactly.
All this stuff going on. And it's probably very naive of me and probably not very smart of me as an
No,
American to do so, but
no, no.
I
You
just want to close
because
myself out. I just
because
don't,
Emma, here's what you do. Go find it for yourself if you want,
yeah,
right? If there's an issue, go find it
it's
yourself,
gonna affect
like I
me
do.
fully.
Go find it yourself. Do your own research. Okay. Don't
Yeah,
have somebody tell it for you. You go find it yourself. Go
yeah,
use your sources. I mean, I think if you look at my phone, you'll find that I have the apps for Fox News, I have the apps for CNN, I have the apps for MSNBC, and I can look at all three of them.
yeah,
And I can look at all of that, and I can go look at the same different story three ways, and I can make my opinion, right?
right.
And
But
you
doesn't
could,
it, they're all gonna be written in such a different way. Like, do you ever feel like you're gonna
well,
get the actual news?
no, because guess what? The fact of the matter is, one thing I learned about all three news sources, and all of them, whatever's in the headline, if you actually read the story, is the headline means
That
nothing about what the
actually
story is.
happened to me today. I I was on the Snapchat, dailymail.com, which is just mumbo jumbo crap. But it was about this woman who, well, it was inappropriate, but it was about this woman who did something to her stepson. But then you read the article and you're like, I don't know if we can call it what we're calling it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a
Yeah.
minor, so like it was
It
still
was, it was,
illegal, but
it was like exaggerated to the
yeah.
20th degree for a
But
click.
you accused the woman, but then the stepson's telling his side of the story, and it's like, it sounds like he instigated it and wanted it, and it's all messed up regardless, but we can't call it what we're calling it.
Yep. Yep. That's the
Which really
words.
did surprise me, and I was like, huh, I don't.
No, that's every article. That's every
But
article. Yeah.
hmm.
Interesting.
Do you want to see some really fun ChatGPT generated images that give me a good chuckle?
Sure.
Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so if you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, this is my ChatGPT. This is my dog Twyla. Okay, see this?
Yeah.
I had him create a human version of my dog Twyla. Look at that. Isn't that nuts?
That looks like somebody.
Looks like my mom.
No. Oh God,
Yes,
no.
I think
That
it looks
does
like my mom
not
without
look
glass.
like your
Yeah,
mom.
that looks like my mom without glasses. It does. It's a little older, but
Oh my
I
God. I
I
can't wait till your mom. I
well,
can't.
I've already told her. I've showed her this picture. I've been like, I feel like it looks like you.
What did she say?
She disagreed. So did my sister, but I think
Oh,
it looks like my mom. And then
that's a
here's my
slap in
little
the
dog.
face.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. This is a nice woman. This is
No.
my this is my little dog, okay? And this is what it generated for her. Isn't that crazy? I was like, wow, that does look exactly how I think my dog would look. Okay? And then I did my parents' dog. And then it made her a what? And I was like, oh, that's incorrect. So then I had to redo it and be like, he's a dude. Now it looks like him. So then I got crazy, okay? Here's a picture of me. I wanted to see if it could create me as a dog. No, it made me as a boy. That actually is exactly what my mom said. It looks just like my boyfriend, but with hair. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. This is my cousin's dog. It made her, well, it originally made her a man, but now she's a woman. Look at that. Isn't that fun? I love
Yeah.
doing this stuff. I I like the image generation is so cool. I do like a whole thing on Canva too. You can do like a bunch of image generation on there, which is how we did the prank on the April Fool's prank. I
Yeah.
generated a bunch of those sandwiches. Um, I've been doing all sorts of. I like to just look up funny things and be like, generate me this. AI is sick. I like it a lot.
It's sick. I still haven't figured out. I still haven't spent a lot of time. I
I
spent
use
a
it.
little bit of time, but not.
I just used it
Yeah.
to write this blurb for me that I need to send to somebody for work. I use it for our book club, my work book club, so I'm in charge of it. I every time I want I write like the context that I need to get across or like what I need to say, and then I say write this in a bubbly, upbeat, friendly tone with proper grammar because I'm bad at all of that. And then it just writes it, it makes it seem so delightful, and then I copy paste, boom, and
I was using it for a while when I'd listen to a podcast. I'd listen to a restaurant podcast, and they'd always ask somebody what their favorite business book was, and they would say what their favorite business book was, and I'd quick jot it down, and then I'd go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, write me an executive summary, a 2-page executive summary of the highlights of this book and whatever," and it would
mm-hmm,
write me an executive summary of the book, so I didn't have to read the book.
right.
I just had to read the highlights of the book because I'm not a good reader.
Me neither. I well, um, we even had like a book club meeting this week because I've been using it a lot for my book club stuff, obviously. And I gave it the book, and I was like, write me some discussion points. for this, and it did, and it was actually, we used almost all of them. I was like, wow, this is great fun for me. But I will
Are
say
you
though,
there?
ChatGPT
Did
still
your
has a
internet
couple of
freeze up?
kinks because it doesn't know it's Ted Lasso trivia. No,
She got new
I didn't understand.
internet and it freezes up.
Oh no,
What the hell, Emma?
you're watching this. Emma got new internet this week, and it was supposed to be this really high tech,
She
really
was
good stuff,
bragging
and
to
all of a
Randy
sudden
and
it's not
I
working, and that's really not good.
that she got
I
new
bragged
internet.
about it to the guys.
And
And
here she is, froze up.
okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just,
I know. I was
I
just
just,
talking about how
so
you
was
were
I.
bragging about you got new internet, and you were bragging to us all week about having new internet. And then I said, here, she freezes up.
So it's so
Like,
funny because
what the
when I
fuck?
noticed I was freezing up, and I go, oh shit, this isn't very good, because I just was bragging to the guys about this new internet I got, and it's supposed to be really high tech, it's not working. So in post, we're gonna be having the same conversation at the same time about my internet, but it's bad. And I never lost connection. I don't know why that happened. Maybe it was actually you.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
I have fiber, MetroNet, but
We've lost
whatever.
MetroNet a couple times.
Hey, don't say that to
We,
me.
we have at noon on Friday.
That's okay. I
That's
would
fine.
rather. I got rid of MediaCom. Did I tell you about this mumbo jumbo? I did not have internet 5 times in a week and a half.
Yeah, because they keep saying they're upgrading, they're upgrading, they're upgrading.
Right. Well, the last time they were finally like, we're doing maintenance. So when I canceled on Friday after I got my MetroNet all set up, they didn't even fight me. I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm canceling. They're like, okay, sounds good. And they know they're losing business. That's bogus.
yeah,
I was paying over $100 to not even have internet.
yeah,
Bogus. And now I'm
yeah.
paying much less. And it
Now
should
you
be
can
better internet.
now you can pay for dog surgeries.
I know. I thought the other dog was sick this weekend, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But she's resilient, so she got through it.
Okay, what else?
I don't know.
What else?
This
Nothing.
is like an OG episode.
OG episode. Yeah,
Yeah, just me and you.
yeah, finally,
Not quite the same.
you know, went to a little more fighting with the county this week.
Ooh, what for this time?
Well, trying to get this patio permit
Oh,
still.
you gotta have
And
permits for everything.
and so the patio permit, they didn't want to issue the patio permit because my site plan wasn't approved. And I'm like, well, wait a second. My site plan says I just need to get a permit to get my patio. So it doesn't say that. And they're like, well, we're not sure you have enough bathroom. And like, okay, so going back and forth. So anyway,
Yeah.
so it finally comes out. They're like, well, we're looking at your septic sizing, your septic tank, which was brand new 2 years ago.
Correct.
And we're not sure you have a big enough septic system to handle the patio. Well, then, first of all, why would you approve the patio in the original plan? Second of all, I can throw 40 seats on that patio. Now, we're only going to put 28 seats out there. I can throw 28 seats on that patio tomorrow and start serving on that without any permits at all, and nobody can say a thing, right? If I go out and stick 4 posts in the ground and put a cover over that patio, or 10 posts in the ground, not connect it to the building at all, no structural change to the building at all, and put 4 posts in the ground, just like if I were building something 20 feet away, and put a cover on it, now they want to tie it to my septic system. And I'm like, it's the same shit, right? It's the
Yeah.
same shit. How can you, what are you looking at this for? The septic systems, so they just keep nitpicking and nitpicking and nitpicking about everything. So We just had to take all our beautiful landscaping, plant it out along the roads, and move it. So all the trees. So now when you drive by, you see nothing. It's just fine. I care less. We just paid $2,000 to move all the trees and all the bushes to the back of the property. So it's fine. And we don't have to worry about, now we can just mow and replant grass and all kinds of stuff just to keep making them happy. Just drives me nuts. The county is so anti-business. So we'll see. Now that we move those, now we'll see what else they can complain about.
Yeah, that's tough.
There will be something. They'll come up with something different that they want to complain about.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's crazy. But
well, best of luck with that. But
so we might get a patio. We might not get a patio.
At this point, who needs it? Who's eating breakfast on a patio anyway?
I'm just going to put a sign up there that says, well, we were going to put a patio here, but, please talk to your county planners because they don't think that.
You deserve one.
Yeah. We were hoping to get it all done by May 1st because that way, but we've been in the permitting process for over a month now.
Oh my goodness. I feel like you've had quite a few issues with the permit. Or maybe that was Central. That was the New London.
Oh, no. Well, New London was issues too. It all has to do with anytime you're dealing with anything as far as our government's involved, it's fucked up.
Okay, so he said it, not me. Yeah. Well, you got anything else? We're just about in an hour.
No,
we didn't have anything super.
Nothing.
Nothing super messed up was said. You can tell Randy wasn't here.
Super messed up. Yeah, you can tell Randy wasn't here to add his 2 cents worth in. So then we'll make him do double time next time if he's not still shitting his brains out. But
I'm throwing up. Yeah, I don't love to start my morning with I'm not going to be on this morning. Going both ends. Sorry. Okay. Have a nice rest of your day.
Yeah, I didn't get my morning walk in. It's finally we get one full day by ourselves. Sherry's all looking forward to laying out by the pool, and it's rain and thunderstorms all day in Florida for the first time. So,
yikes! Yikes! Oh, well, for some of us, the grind never stops. I got lots of work to do.
Okay.
Crazy, I know. But okay, well. If you haven't already, follow us on social media at Cue the Mic Pod. Find us on YouTube at Cue the Mic Podcast. Watch this video. You guys can see our ChatGPT stuff. Also be on Spotify. And yeah, that's really all I got. This is normally where I say, Randy, take it away. So,
but Darren? Now I'm going to do my best. Randy, boom! I'm out of here.
Yeah, all right. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay.